China's special envoy for the Middle East, Jai Jun, has expressed deep concern about the situation in Gaza, emphasizing the need for a ceasefire and dialogue. Jai, who recently participated in a peace summit in Cairo, called for an end to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. He highlighted China's stance against using violence to resolve the issue and pledged to continue efforts to provide humanitarian aid and mediate for peace. Jai is currently on a diplomatic tour in the region to address the crisis. Migrant apprehensions at the U.S. southern border reached an all-time high in the 2023 fiscal year, with over 2.4 million apprehensions, marking the third consecutive record-breaking year. The surge in migration coincides with a global increase in displacement. The immigration issue is a political vulnerability for President Biden ahead of the 2024 election. While the Biden administration has implemented new enforcement policies and legal pathways to reduce illegal border crossings, the number of migrant arrests outside official ports of entry has declined due to efforts to direct migrants to use a government smartphone app for orderly and safe entry. In the wake of the Israel-Hamas conflict, some Arab and Muslim American communities are expressing disappointment with President Joe Biden's response. While Biden initially expressed strong support for Israel, he later evolved his tone to express concern for Palestinian civilians and called on Israel to allow humanitarian aid into Gaza. However, Arab and Muslim leaders remain concerned and fear that some voters may sit out the 2024 election or vote for a third-party candidate due to their dissatisfaction with Biden's handling of the conflict. In a significant development, Ukraine deployed American-supplied M39 missiles for the first time, targeting Russian-occupied helicopter bases in the south and east of Ukraine. Contrary to initial claims, the attack on October 17th resulted in the destruction of 21 Russian helicopters, a far greater impact than previously reported. The M39 missile's submunition warhead proved highly effective in striking airfields, making it a major blow to the Russian Air Force. The missile system's destructive power and area coverage were key factors in this outcome. Tropical storm Norma continues to threaten mainland Mexico with flash flooding and heavy rainfall, as Hurricane Tammy made landfall in Barbuda. Norma, with maximum winds of 65 miles per hour, is moving north-northeastward, expected to approach Mexico's west coast. On the other hand, Tammy, initially a Category 1 hurricane, remained strong with 85 miles per hour winds and moved northwest. Norma had previously weakened from a Category 4 hurricane and is expected to bring significant rainfall, while Barbuda prepares for further rain, taking into account the already saturated soil from recent weather events. The United States reaffirmed its commitment to defend the Philippines under a 1951 treaty, after Chinese ships blocked and collided with Filipino vessels near the contested Second Thomas Shoal in the South China Sea. Philippine officials lodged a strong protest against China's actions. The U.S. warned that it would defend the Philippines if any armed attack occurs as part of the Mutual Defense Treaty. The incident comes amid heightened tensions in the region, as China continues to assert territorial claims over the South China Sea. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, conducted overnight raids near the Gaza border to eliminate terrorist squads and locate hostages taken during the recent conflict with Hamas. Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari announced that these actions are part of preparations for the next phase of the war. The IDF has intensified its military operations in Gaza and the West Bank since Hamas's large-scale attack earlier this month. Israeli airstrikes in the past 24 hours targeted numerous terrorist sites, including Hamas tunnel network. Casualty figures in Gaza have risen, with at least 4,651 reported killed. The Biden administration is reportedly urging Israel to postpone its impending invasion of Gaza, seeking to facilitate the release of more hostages held by Hamas and provide aid to Gaza. The release of 2 Americans by Hamas has signaled progress, potentially leading to more hostages being freed. Qatar has been mediating discussions between the U.S., Israel, and Hamas regarding the hostages and aid delivery. Israel has denied reports of a delay and emphasized that the U.S. is not pressing for postponement. Secretary of State Antony Blinken expressed hope for more hostage releases, but emphasized the need for unconditional release. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell expressed concerns about China, Russia, and Iran, referring to them as the new axis of evil. He emphasized the immediate threat these nations pose to the United States, Noting the complex global challenges, including the conflict in Ukraine and Israel's battle against Hamas, McConnell called for strong U.S. leadership and underscored the interconnected nature of these issues. He also mentioned the importance of securing the U.S. border while providing aid to allies. Thousands of demonstrators gathered in Paris and Brussels to express solidarity with Palestinians and call for a ceasefire in the Israel-Gaza conflict. In Paris, around 15,000 people gathered, while Brussels saw approximately 12,000 participants. French police authorized the Paris protest. Other pro-Palestinian protests have been authorized across France after a court overturned a ban, and the country's highest administrative court ruled that such protests should be evaluated on a case-by-case basis.